It is game day on Shackelford Road and the final week of the ASUN regular season in women's soccer leads to this second matchup between Lipscomb and North Alabama in Nashville. Glad to have you with us. I'm John Freeman, and it is a battle of two teams on opposite ends of the ASUN standings. North Alabama, the Lions, come in without a win in the ASUN, 0-4-2 for the visitors. And on the other side, Lipscomb without a loss in the ASUN. Just last weekend, Lipscomb ensured their place as the #1 seed in the ASUN tournament by dispatching Kennesaw State for the second time this season. And that means that the Bisons can play this evening without any sort of ramifications for any sort of slip up against North Alabama. And on the other end, you'd also think that North Alabama would be eager to play freely as well, knowing that their fate in the ASUN tournament lies ahead and that their regular season is about to come to a conclusion, along with all the teams around this conference. Sun just peeking out here, roughly 50 degrees and windy. This match was actually scheduled for last week and was moved to this week after some storms rolled through the Nashville area, both midweek and in the weekend. It's been a stormy week here in Nashville. Over 8 inches of rain falling in the last 7 days here in Tennessee. Did walk the field beforehand. Pristine conditions will not be any sort of problem for the players as things have substantially dried out, and a cool breeze helping dry the field as well. Your referee today, Andy Boyle. Your associate referee is Lucy Bell. And your other assistant is Tony Sheets. North Alabama, the first to break their huddle. Their goalkeeper, Peyton Yates, heads to the right. And shortly, Melissa Gray, the goalkeeper for Lipscomb, will head in the opposite direction. It is Gray who will be facing the setting sun, which will be setting directly into her eye line. And by the time the second half rolls around, Peyton Yates should have a completely shaded field to patrol from her goalkeeper position. So for the second time this season, in the last week of the ASUN regular season now, it is Lipscomb and UNA in this spring encounter. Lipscomb to kick us off in the gold shirts and gold socks. And play underway. The Bisons victorious against UNA in the first match this season. It was a 3-1 victory several weeks ago. And Lipscomb has been on a tear in the ASUN. 5-0-1. So 6 matches, 5 wins, 1 draw for Lipscomb in the ASUN. Their only 2 losses this season came out of conference. And Lipscomb, their only 2 losses this season. One came to Alabama of the mighty SEC. The other came to Lee University, a Division II school. And the Bisons quickly on the attack. Centering in for Cammie Rogers, who collected a brace against Kennesaw State over the weekend. Looking to continue her scoring ways. Lipscomb on the front foot, Caitlin Eccles. Touching it through. Flag stays down, and Lipscomb nearly has the breakthrough, and they just might get it here. But Peyton Yates with her first stop, as it was Cammie Rogers nearly breaking through in just what was the 2nd minute. So an early sign of fangs for Lipscomb. And they have been relentless here in this first 90 seconds. UNA barely a sniff of the ball. It was a good early save for Peyton Yates. Lipscomb in a 3-5-2 formation this afternoon. Can do that when you've got good, speedy center backs like Shelby Kraft and also Logan McFadden. The other center back for Lipscomb is Katia Hanger, who switches the point of attack. Olivia Carapazza, one of the surprise inclusions. Carapazza, just 5 games played this year, really coming along. Kevin O'Brien said the freshman is a really good player, just had a few people ahead of her in the depth chart, and he wants her to get some minutes. So her potential is quite high. Carapazza's father actually an MLB umpire of all professions. Our official today, Andy Boyle, hails from the Atlanta area, actually a teacher. Drove up today, worked from a friend's house, teaching school virtually, and now has made his way to the Lipscomb Soccer Complex to preside over this. Hanger turns and distributes to Carapazza. Took the direct route towards Grant. Reclaimed by Eccles. McFadden was clipped. And Lipscomb, no pun intended, with the Lions' share of possession. That's last off a visitor. Lipscomb throw. About 4 minutes in here. We'll see the traffic filing by on Shackelford Road that runs parallel to this stadium. Rush hour traffic. As it's just a little after 6 o'clock here in Nashville. And if we have a late arriving crowd, that would be one of the reasons why. Interestingly enough, Lipscomb just 1-2-1 at home this year. So both of their losses and their lone draw came here on this field. The Bison's trip to North Alabama included are a perfect 5-0 on the road. And UNA trying to spring a counterattack here. McFadden with work to do and distributes expertly. Carapazza trying to get clever with the turn. Charlotte Kellett bearing down. And safety first from Hanger. Oh, what a wonderful turn that is by Grant. Shepherded out of play by Kelsey Jones. One back by Kelly Byler, and Lipscomb will reset. Here is the fabulous Kelly Byler as a tremendous ball into the path of Rogers. And brave goalkeeping from Yates. Peyton Yates started all but one match this season. Freshman from Melbourne, Florida. Good size and presence. Could find herself a busy goalkeeper this afternoon. It's already been called into action once. Turning is Kellett. Pumped down the far sideline towards Alice Bussey. And the Brit pestering McFadden, whose sturdy work has earned Lipscomb a throw-in. McFadden from the shadows, clearing out of her own defensive ends. Schuster. Catherine LaRoche. Captain Kate Wiseman denied. It's an airtight midfield of Lipscomb. In no way in for UNA. Schuster. Now Wiseman. Clipped in ball. Flag stays down for Bussey. And right when you think Lipscomb is in control of this match, good spell of possession and nearly an end product for the Lions. One back by the intrepid Shelby Kraft. Rogers overran the ball that she won. And Lipscomb applying high pressure. Lions able to break it with Mia Staley. Now wide for Kellen. The junior takes the interior rounds. Wiseman. Staley. And the ever-present Kraft. All eyes on the assistant referee, and that's last touch by a Lipscomb player. The voice you hear the most is that of Kelly Byler, who wears the captain's armband for Lipscomb, coordinating her team from the middle of the park. Byler 5 in gold. Transfer from Penn State. 6 goals this year from her central midfield position. Now, she does have several of those off of penalty kicks. It's a tricky place to turn the ball over for UNA, and nearly the through ball from Carapaza finding a recipient. There's a foul behind the play on a Lipscomb player. And taking the worst of it was Wiseman. Launched high and hard by Linsing. Strong header by McFadden. And a chance for UNA to build from its back line. Clairvoyant defending from Hanger. Cleared as far as Wiseman. Magnificent switch to bring Hannah Guthrie forward. Just could not get there before the ball crossed the sideline. And now Lipscomb trying to hit the home run ball to Molly Grant. It's still Grant. It's still Grant. Peyton Yates rooted to the spot. Never had to shuffle her planted feet. Second save this afternoon for Yates. Here's Emily Patty. Wiseman for UNA. Chested down by Kraft. Collecting is Rogers. That is neatly done by the Bisons. And now a chance to fly forward as Grant down the far wing. Numbers flooding forward. Grant goes in alone. Great save, rebound available, and Byler tucks it home. Expert finish. Scorched earth counterattack from Lipscomb. And Byler makes no mistake about it. Yates did all she could to stop the first effort from Grant. And a sure-footed, confident finish from Byler. And Lipscomb jumps out to the 1-0 lead. And for Byler, that is her 7th goal of the season. The transfer from Penn State. It didn't transfer for lack of playing time. She had 14 games that she appeared in at Penn State, decided wanted a change of scenery. And boy, has she fit in well here in Nashville. Been a revelation for this Lipscomb team. It was Byler who actually in her high school career scored 126 goals. 126. A little tougher to do in college, but boy, she is picking up goals quite quickly for a central midfielder that plays a box-to-box position. Got a great motor, wonderful composure. And UNA has been on the defensive foot for pretty much the entirety of this match. And they are still looking for their first ASUN win of the year and looking for their first ever program victory against Lipscomb. 0-4 all time against the Bisons. And in this series, they've been outscored 14-3. That was coming into this evening. So now 15-3 in the overall series aggregate. Full-blooded challenge, and Carpazza has won the ball back. Trying to send Rogers down the near flank. Rogers turns by her defender, weaving through traffic, and Rogers scores! Flying in from the wing, slicing through the back line, and Lipscomb surges to a 2-goal lead. And Cammie Rogers, what a finish to this regular season for her. 2 goals versus Kennesaw State over the weekend. Another one this afternoon. And it is all Bison so far, 15 minutes into this match. And Lipscomb back on the hunt for more. Byler wide for Carpazza. Peppers the cross in. Was repelled by Schuster. Carpazza trying to turn her defender. Angle was acute on the cross. And the end result is a UNA goal kick and a chance to breathe for the visitors.
Latest Bison's goal by number 3, Cammie Rogers.
Lipscomb outshooting UNA in this match, 6-0. All 6 of those shots have been on goal. Flag was up on Grant, and that instigates the offside call. So North Alabama won its first game this season. Have not won a match since. 8 straight without a victory. And that streak looking very likely to continue unless they can turn things around here against the #1 seed in the A-Sun. In a tournament that will commence after this weekend's games. And for Kevin O'Brien, now that his team has relative comfort, he is starting to prepare some substitutions in the far corner. He said, really do want to get a lot of players playing time in this match. And he said that regardless of what the result was, just because this match doesn't have any implications for Lipscomb's A-Sun tournament. They've already secured that #1 seed. Foul goes on Byler. So Lipscomb has eyes on an NCAA tournament bid. Pretty much the only way that they can get that is by winning the A-Sun. They're not a candidate for an at-large selection, especially with the shortened NCAA field. So the goal all season long has been be playing your best soccer by the time the A-Sun tournament rolls around. And of course be healthy as well when that time comes. And right now for Lipscomb, so far so good. Lipscomb looking to make the NCAA tournament for the 3rd straight year. Turning is Schueck. Swiss international switching to Carpanza. Took the invitation to drive at Staley, who stood her ground. Second ball won by Caitlin Eccles. Patty's turn, drawing the delight of her teammates. Byler's was even better. Hanger. Retrieving is Rogers. Lofted over top. Flag is down. Running on is Byler, and she slots it home. The assistant referee was ready to raise his flag because he was expecting Molly Grant to touch the ball, but Byler came from an onside position. Grant never touched the ball. Now the question is, was she in the area enough to significantly impact the play? Andy Boyle discussing with his assistant referee. He also wants to talk with the goalkeeper, Peyton Yates. And by the way that this discussion is occurring, it looks like he's made up his mind that he's going to give the goal to Lipscomb. So still waiting the final verdict here. And it appears the goal will stand.
Kelly Byler, assisted by #3.
So just to reconfirm and talk over the situation. So Grant was in an offside position when that pass was played. It looked like she was going to address the ball, but Byler came in having generated from an onside position. The referee took a look at his assistant referee, whose flag was just about to be lifted from his hip, but Grant didn't touch the ball. By the letter of the law, that's correctly played. Now the flag is up on Byler. So a controversial goal, if you will, in the eyes of North Alabama. And a bit of nuance required, too, of the referees. And decision-making on, was Grant in a position enough to impact the way that the defense addressed the situation. And nevertheless, it's a heady play by Byler, sliding home her second goal of the evening, and she continues her torrent of goals here in the A-Sun. So Byler on watch for her second hat trick of the season. Did so in a game on this field earlier in the year, although she did have the help of 2 penalty kicks in that match. Looking to do so organically here. Already has 2 from the run of play. Carpazza's first-time service. Too hot to handle for Grant, and Lipscomb again pressing forward relentlessly. Wiseman surveying her options. Rogers never hesitates to move forward. That's better from the Lions. Big gust of wind swirling now at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. Shadows now covering almost the entirety of the field. The lights have been turned on, and when this one is over, Stars should be out in Nashville. For the record, it was 78 degrees and sunny yesterday. Significant temperature drops overnight. Here's Grant. Tried to send the lightning quick Rogers down the left side. And still just no way through this midfield of Lipscomb, and Grant has run on. It's a one-on-one, and that's a really fabulous save from Yates. She has been under duress for the entirety of the half. Made a couple big saves, and that's probably the best of them. Her 5th save already. Schueck towards Rogers. Another goal for Rogers. And relentless Lipscomb has its 4th. Rogers has the brace. A brace of braces for Rogers. 2 straight games with 2 goals. And Lipscomb firing on all cylinders. And for UNA, looks like they may make a substitution here to try and shore up the back line, as they are struggling mightily with Lipscomb's forwards. And the Bisons, perhaps a show of mercy with wholesale substitutions.
Number 15, Haley Williams, and number 16,
Haley Williams in for Lipscomb, along with, looks like Cami McGee out there for the Bisons.
Checking in for the Lions,
Grace
2,
Oliver as well.
Anderson. Replaces number 19, Zoe Ellis.
And for UNA, their substitution, Malin Anderson in, the Swede, checks in. Lipscomb has also brought in Tori Wheeler as well in the midfield, and Evie Reeder. So a large amount of substitutes for the Bisons, and essentially exchanging most of their forward players, leaving their back line intact, and leaving Kelly Byler out there to allow her conquest for a hat trick to continue. Flicked along by Byler. Bison still in business until a foul goes on the far sideline, and UNA bailed out from its own defensive end. So Lipscomb, 9 shots in this half. All 9 have been on target. And they just keep coming. Kraft. To find a crevice in between the defenders. Cami McGee was stretching her legs. So the forward pairing, it looks like, in the 3-5-2 now is Haley Williams, freshman from St. Simons Island, Georgia, who has played in every single game as a substitute this year, 15 in gold. And the other forward for Lipscomb is Cami McGee, redshirt sophomore from Collierville High School here in Tennessee. Does have a goal and an assist this year after redshirting last year. Oh, Byler. What a magnificent player she is. She is just oozing with confidence. The effervescent midfielder. Wears that captain's armband with class and a bit of showmanship too.
Checking in for North Alabama, number 11, Tay Cabot. Replaces number 17, Kira Schuster.
And UNA making a substitution as Kira Schuster out. And Tay Cabot in.
North Alabama, number 21.
Senior from Madison, Mississippi, making her 64th appearance for UNA. And also sneaking in is Reese Wingermule, freshman from Missouri. Got her first start against Liberty. That's the only start this season for UNA. Well, Kraft has turned the ball over, and Wingermule making her impressions on the match early. And she's whistled for the foul in her first involvement. UNA coming off a 1-1 draw against Liberty. That came on Sunday at home. And interestingly enough, I mean, you just compare these teams' schedules and their opponents. They obviously share a lot of common opponents because of their conference schedule, and UNA draws Liberty over the weekend, and that raises some eyebrows among the Lipscomb program because Lipscomb had the same result. They drew Liberty earlier this season. Yet there has been absolutely no equality in terms of possession, chances, and overall performance this afternoon when you put these two teams together. Fifth time these teams have ever met. Lipscomb has scored multiple goals in every single meeting. Didn't take them long this afternoon, and they search for more. Is a fifth on the way. Grace Oliver. It's a good service. Pumped out by Linsing. Henger. Running on is McGee. Reclaimed by Emily Patty of Lipscomb. Be a Bison's throw. Wheeler, her cross right in front. Byler taking over. And the flag is up on Oliver. So things to watch out for as this game motors forward. Roughly about an hour of it left. Kelly Byler, the candidate for the hat trick. Pull up the A-Sun stats in just a minute. We'll see how close she is to leading the conference in goals with 2 more today. Came in 3rd in the A-Sun. Another interesting thing, quirky stat, is UNA has never received a single card this season. 9 matches, no cards. Here's Wheeler. Slipping it in front. The Bisons onside again, and a sweetly tucked finish for Cammie McGee. They are slicing apart the Lions, and the visitors have just no answers. And the finishes have been pristine for Lipscomb. They have picked out the corners. And it is next Bison up. So Wheeler the substitute, assisting McGee the substitute. And it is a 5-goal first half for the Lady Bisons. And it is a suffocating performance. Lipscomb coming in waves. Goalkeeper off her line. Well done by Peyton Yates. Challenges coming in thick and heavy. Remember, UNA without a booking this season. Do like the fight though from the Lions in that latest exchange. So Kelly Byler came in with 6 goals. She has 2 tonight, and now she is the co-leader in the A-Sun. In goals with 8. Well, going for glory was Wheeler, trying to get in on the act herself after assisting the latest goal. Tice Reese of UNF is the co-leader in the conference with 8 goals herself. So Byler, with 1 more goal, would be the leading scorer in the conference. Noise you hear is 3 military helicopters flying over the stadium. Not something you normally see or hear. It's that scheduled flyover from the Lipscomb Athletics Department, Shirley. Well, late. So going back to the discussion about who wins the A-Sun Golden Boot. Well, Byler now steps out of this contest with her 2 goals. So she's the co-leader with Reese of UNF. UNF does not play midweek. They do play Jacksonville on Saturday. That's the final game of the A-Sun regular season schedule for the Ospreys. And Lipscomb with 1 game as well, and that's on Saturday against Bellarmine. So that leading scorer in the conference race is going to come down to the final day, and Byler is going to be at least tied for pole position with maybe some more left in her tonight with the way this game's going, but she'll have to talk Kevin O'Brien into letting her back onto the field. And with a 5-goal cushion, playing time for the regular starters might be a little harder to come by in the second half. UNA holding an incredibly high line on this free kick. About 25 yards out from the goal they're protecting. Nodded away by Grace Linsing. And turned ultimately out by McFadden. So the A-Sun tournament begins on April 10th. Lipscomb will be the 1 seed, their 4th consecutive season as the A-Sun regular season winners. Bisons were picked to finish first in the A-Sun preseason poll, and that is where they will finish. And a substitution for Lipscomb, Summer Elmore in. Players played just 18 total minutes this season. And Elmore, the freshman from nearby Mount Juliet, will step into the 3-person back line for the Bisons. Kevin O'Brien said we're going 3-5-2. We'll see how it goes, and so far, so good. So 3 center backs for the Bisons, and just looking out onto the field, doing a head count, looks like just 1 original starter left for Lipscomb. Of outfield players, that is, and it's Shelby Kraft. Of course, the goalkeeper, Melissa Gray, has remained for the entirety of the half. So you're looking at 9 substitutes on the field for Lipscomb. Here's Wiseman. Crunching challenge from Reeder, player who scored against UNA in the first meeting. It was a 3-1 victory for Lipscomb in Alabama. Been a tough year for UNA. Still winless in the A-Sun, but a program that only 2 years removed from a run all the way to the conference title match in the A-Sun tournament, the 2018 tournament. Made it to the final and fell to this Lipscomb team. Interestingly enough, for UNA's Division I history, their largest amount of goals conceded in a match is 6. That came in 2019 against Lipscomb. So there's something about this matchup that makes the mouth water of the Lipscomb scores. And the Bison surging forward on the counterattack. It's Sky Bond, the substitute. Played less than 100 minutes this year. Not as far as McGee, who has a goal to her name. And you have to feel for the goalkeeper, Yates. Truly nothing she could have done about the goals. Lipscomb's had 10 shots on target in this half alone. Yates has turned away half of them. And you look at a 5-0 score line, and yeah, it's harsh to say it could have been worse for UNA, but it's true. A couple heroic saves from Yates to keep this scoreline down at what it is. Long ball seeking out Haley Williams. Her co-forward arriving for the harvest in McGee. Quality defending, but still more to be done by UNA. Play continues. Kitty and Klingel. Ooh, took a hard challenge, and this could be the first booking of the year for UNA, and there it is. Yellow card raised over the head of Wingbermule. And here we are in game number 10 of the year for UNA. Over 900 minutes of action by the end of the evening. And the first booking of the season for UNA. Don't think Wingbermule or anybody else is in jeopardy of a yellow card accumulation suspension. And a big collision right around the penalty spot. Now, to give UNA credit, they've only had one yellow card against them this year. So how about that? You get that many games, and that many minutes on the field, and that many challenges, and total opponent and UNA combined this season, just 2 total yellow cards. So check one of the storylines down there. The other one I identified was, can Kelly Byler be the lone member at the top of the A-Sun scoring charts by the end of the night? She is tied with 8 goals. So we got our booking. Now we're just waiting on potentially a Kelly Byler goal to round out the objectives for the evening. And now the entire field covered in shadows. the sun setting over Green Hills neighborhood just outside the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. Muscular challenge in the midfield. And the intensity and ferocity in the challenge is starting to pick up here. Here's Kellett with room to turn. Ball floated into the area. Hunted down by Wiseman. Sent in quickly. Brave head from Kraft. It's a tough spot to give away a free kick. And Wiseman does well to earn it for UNA. Wiseman, the captain, has started every match of her career, her 45th career start. And she has retrieved this ball, and she is the lone candidate to take this free kick. And maybe, just maybe for UNA, a bright spot in what has been a woeful half. And it's Wiseman standing over. Just 2 total career goals, though, in her 40-plus career starts. Wiseman steps forward and delivers. First save of the afternoon for Gray. Room to turn and run for Chloe Murphy. Been brought in off of the bench. Murphy has not played this season, 10 and white. 70 seconds left in this half. A half full of fireworks. Will there be one more at the finish?
1 minute remaining in the half. 1 minute.
And perhaps will it come from UNA? Kellett, lacking in numbers and the distribution port. And with 30 seconds to go, Lipscomb perhaps with the final foray forward.
Ten, 9, 8, 7.
Ball rolls out of bounds, and that will do it
4, 3
for the
2,
highest scoring half of the season for the Lipscomb Bisons. An astounding 5-goal haul at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. Goals coming 2 apiece from Cammie Rogers and Kelly Byler, and then 1 from Cammie McGee. And the Bisons blitz UNA from the opening kickoff, and after 45 minutes of soccer, they have a comfortable margin here, 5-0 in the second to last game of the regular season in the A-Sun for Lipscomb. I'm going to put my headset down. Still 45 more minutes of soccer to come from the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. I'll put my headset down, warm up if I can here as the temperature is dropping, and I'll talk to you again in about 15 minutes as we bring you the second half. North Alabama and Lipscomb, 5-0 to the Bisons at halftime. Back at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex as we get ready for the second half, Lipscomb and UNA. Sun is set. Chilly temperatures this evening here in Nashville, but a red-hot Bison's team. 5 goals in the first half, spread across 3 players' stat lines. Cammie Rogers with 2, Kelly Byler with 2, and Cammie McGee with 1. And Lipscomb on the verge of heading into the final day of the A-Sun regular season without a loss in the conference. Would obviously take a miraculous effort tonight to change that from UNA. And then Bellarmine on the horizon for the Bisons. That game a home match as well for Lipscomb, and that'll take place on Saturday night, where temperatures are expected to be a bit more spring-like. Looking around the players that Lipscomb has brought back out into this match, it appears that it is a lineup made almost exclusively of substitutes, including new goalkeeper C.J. Graham, the redshirt freshman, seeing minutes for what will be the 4th time this season. The lone holdover from the starting lineup is 2 in gold. That is Shelby Kraft. Everyone else began the match with coats on. Here is Rogers. Sky Bond. Claiming is Peyton Yates, the goalkeeper for North Alabama. Player who made 5 saves in the first half. Had to repel a shot in the first couple seconds of this match in the opening minutes, and pretty much spent her entire rest of her first half trying to defend what is a ferocious Lipscomb attack. And here they go in business again. It's Haley Williams, and that is easily the best save of the evening. And it came from Peyton Yates, and she has made some sublime saves this evening, and that one, an emphatic paw away of the shot. And for as unflattering as this scoreline is for UNA, it could be much worse if not for the heroics of Yates. Does lead to the corner kick, though, for Lipscomb. Delivered by Wheeler. Where was that heading? Could have been turned on frame, or could have been going on target itself, as McGee, with the awkward stab at the ball, ended up getting the ball trapped underneath her foot. Wasn't able to puncture it through. Under pressure is Emma Childs. Reader. And clipped was Wheeler. UNA seems to have shored up its defensive problems. In the first half, it was wave after wave of Lipscomb attack and really unfiltered access down the flanks. Now, Lipscomb did have a good chance here early in this second half, but after the barrage, Lipscomb did bring in some substitutes, and so did UNA, and those reinforcements for the Lions have offered some bit of ability to repel these Lipscomb advances. Here they come again with Wheeler. Reeder, expert ball to Skybon. Trying to gain the inline, cuts back, slices past her defender, puts the cross in, and it is goal number 6 of the night for Lipscomb. Grace Oliver, the author of it, but the ghostwriter is Skybon, who has less than 100 minutes played this season. She has pretzeled her defender and put in an inch-perfect cross. And the Bisons pick up where they left off. So Oliver scores, Bond assists, and Lipscomb has its 6th. Now, can they kick the extra point? A touchdown of goals for Lipscomb. And UNA 1 goal away from conceding 7 goals for the first time in school history. The 6 goals that they have conceded matches 6 goals back several years ago, delivered by Lipscomb as well. It has been a nightmare matchup, and it is a long, long way to go for the Lions. A little less than 40 minutes remaining. So back in 2019, it was a Lipscomb 6-0 win. And here we are, 6-0 with more than 38 minutes remaining. And Lipscomb peaking at the perfect time now this season. No one sounded the alarm bells when in the opening match of this spring season, the Bisons fell to Division II Lee University. And you just wondered, has this magical run for Lipscomb of consecutive NCAA tournament bids, has that luck run out? Not necessarily luck, because it was earned, but has that magic run out? Is this going to be a down year potentially after having lost to a Division II team? The answer emphatically is no. Lipscomb has been as good as we thought they would be. They were picked to finish first in the A-Sun. They will finish first in the A-Sun regular season standings. And they are blooming with all of the trees here in Nashville this spring. And they are pouring in goals too. 8 different goal scorers this season for Lipscomb, averaging 2 goals a game coming in, and that average will only grow once the computations are done at the end of the evening. Bisons well on their way to their 4th straight win. Is there a bite back, though, for UNA? Going to put together a constellation of passes first, and they have failed to do so. And for the Lipscomb substitutes, of which there are 10 on the field, you wonder, they might just play the entirety of this half. There's No reason to bring the starters back in. And Kevin O'Brien's lineup relatively solidified, like most teams, as they charge down the home stretch. So good opportunity for a lot of these younger players to gather some playing time. McGee was fouled. So a set piece for the Bisons. UNA was holding a high line in the first half. They've receded that defensive line here in the second. Lofted in by Kraft. The heads go up. And shepherded over the inline by Yates, the goalkeeper. So game number 10 of the year for Lipscomb. They've only conceded 7 goals. So for as much as I talk about their offensive prowess and their ability to score, on the other end, their ability to keep others from doing so is much to be commended. So this Lipscomb team exactly where it wants to be heading into the postseason. Peaking at the right time, pouring in goals, and not conceding them. Though the waters will get choppier in the A-Sun tournament as teams from the other division loom. Here's Guthrie's cross. The header sent wide. Nearly the chance that UNA has been hoping for. And the header came from Tay Cavett, and she could not steer it on target from point blank. Best look of the night for UNA. Just their second shot. And while it wasn't on target and the other one was, that was clearly their best opportunity. Coolly done by Kraft. Lipscomb a chance to build out of the back. To camp from the defensive ends. Looks like a Lion got the worst of the challenge. And will need medical attention. Can't catch quite who the injured player is for UNA. They are on the opposite side of the field where I am placed along with our camera. And hobbling off is, oh, that's Kate Wiseman, the captain. And a dark night for UNA. Gets darker as their captain cannot walk off the field under her own power. And we certainly wish Wiseman well. She appears to be in a lot of pain as they have positioned her now on the team's bench.
Checking in for North Alabama, number 17, Kira Schuster.
And Kira Schuster back in, the freshman from Germany who did start the match. She will return to it off of the bench. That's a big loss in the middle of the pitch with Kate Wiseman out. Traffic has died down considerably. A game that started on the outskirts of rush hour at 6 o'clock. And now just neighborhood traffic occurring on Shackelford Road. Late arriving crowd. Nevertheless, pretty good crowd. Take any crowd these days. And here comes Lipscomb. Nearly slipping through was McGee. One back, and the Bisons back on the charge. Getting a good glimpse of the future here for Lipscomb. Kraft going face first down on the turf. And no foul. So play continues. As Kraft took the bump from Zoe Ellis. And referee Andy Boyle rubbing his shoulder towards the Lipscomb bench, signaling that it was a fair shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. These teams hemmed in on that far sideline, away from the crowd. Lipscomb trying to navigate out of a compressed area in the middle of the park. Instead, it's Chloe Fell. Springs the Lions forward. Kavitz. It's hurried again right when the attack was building. Fell has gifted the ball to the goalkeeper, CJ Graham. Kellens has inherited the ball in a promising area. Workman effort from Grace Oliver, who tracked back. Spell that counterattack of UNA. Past the hour mark. Lipscomb with the only goal this half. Out shooting UNA 14-3. Interestingly enough, for as much as attacking soccer that we've seen from the Bisons, they've been incredibly accurate. 14 of their shots, 12 of their 14 shots have been on target, and they might have another one here. McGee running on. Tried to square across and could not get the ball past Fell. field is not tilted, I promise. Does feel like the majority of the half has been spent on the far sideline. Ellis has won the throw for the visitors. Well, depending on the statistician, if you're generous, you could give Graham the save there. Was on target. Don't necessarily have to touch the ball with your hands to be credited with the save. See if we get any home scorekeeping. There we go. Stat tracker just uploaded. Save made by Graham. So that goes down as the third shot on goal for UNA in this game. Oh, clever flick by Zoe Ellis. Was attempting to connect with the overlapping Cavett. And finally, the play tilts to this side of the field. And here's Emma Childs. Rare chance to venture forward for Childs. McGee. Got some quick feet. Almost too quick for her own mind. Headed down by Klingel. Williams sending Grace Oliver down the far wing. Poked off the foot of Oliver. And it's more Route 1 football from UNA. Policing out of her goal mouth is Graham. Childs. Jumping the passing lane was Schuster, the sub. Now Fell. Big presence in the midfield. Final ball leaving much to be desired. Direct ball over the top. McGee running on. Good goalkeeping from Yates. A couple times tonight we've seen Yates quick off of her line. Several crucial interventions to go with her 6 saves. Did McGee stay on side? She did not. Flag is up. I think the way that worked is Bond was onside, but McGee's involvement, that little dummy, letting the ball go under her foot, that was enough to get the raised flag from Lucy Bell, our assistant on the far wing. So far, no substitutions this half for Lipscomb, as they continue to let their non-starters carry the bulk of the playing time in this match. Cross warped into a good spot. That's a great finish. They've scored the touchdown, and now they have the extra points. It's Haley Williams, and Lipscomb has 7.
Tyson's goal by number 15, Haley Williams, assisted by number 10, Grace Oliver.
They are ruthless. dynamite finishing tonight from Lipscomb. Every half chance they have managed to steer on target. Yates, the goalkeeper, beaten again. And once again, she is without blame. And for the first time in program history, UNA has conceded a 7th goal. And there is still a long, long way to go. And there are no dogs to call off for Lipscomb. These are their substitutes. Just one original starter left on the field for the Bisons.
Checking in for the Lady Bisons, number 19, Olivia.
That's about to change.
Place number 2, Shelby Kraft.
As Shelby Kraft will come out, but an original starter is being brought back in Olivia Carapaza. So Kraft exiting the pitch means no player for Lipscomb will go the full 90 tonight. Wheeler. Oh, that's on target. And the save from Yates. It was dipping, it was knuckling. And another save for Yates, number 7 tonight. I have to pull deep into the record books to see if there was ever a time Lipscomb has scored this many goals in a match. See what I can dig up by the end of the evening. And is there an 8th on the way for Lipscomb? Potentially on this corner kick, as the Bisons continue to mash their foot on the gas pedal.
Lady Bisons on the corner kick.
Tori Wheeler to take the corner for Lipscomb. Still optimizing the placement of the ball. And the forwards holding and now curving their runs. It's flopped in. Sure-footed clearance from Schuster. Lipscomb stays invested in the attack. Another save for Yates. Here's Carapaza, whose night began as a wing and looks like it will finish as the anchor to a 3-woman backline. And Lipscomb is absolutely buzzing. It was a heavy touch by Haley Williams, allowing the defender to step forward. Down goes Klingel. Back up though. Oh, she slipped through a pass. Flag stays down. And one of the rare miscues of the night for Lipscomb as Williams sends it over the crossbar. And no signs of slowing up for Lipscomb. They They are devouring their opponent tonight. They've done it with class. They've done it with speed. McGee. Midfielders flooding into the penalty area. Delightful footwork from Wheeler. That ball across the end line. Corner kick Lipscomb.
Lady Bison's on the corner kick.
Under 18 minutes to go now. What will be a forgettable night for UNA and a memorable one for many of these Lipscomb players who have found their way onto the score sheet. That's clanged off the post. Bisons reload. Delicate footwork from Carpazza. Ball stays in play. Williams making a run. Ball finds the forward. Crosses out of bounds for a throw-in near the corner flag. Hefty challenge from Andersen, the Swede. It sets up a free kick for the Bisons. Essentially a corner kick with a slightly more acute angle. And Lipscomb fully invested in this free kick. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Bisons sniffing around the area. Free kick sent in. And that was last touched by a visiting head, and it will be a corner kick now for the home side.
Lady Bison's on the corner kick.
So the 7 goals tonight, we are still trying to figure out if that is a record for Lipscomb. Or could it be more? Oliver. Shot on frame, and it came from Klingel. And Yates, once again, sure-handed. So trying to find the record books, there are no, to our knowledge, documents that have the records that we're looking for. So my usual color partner, Wes Bowling, who's at home. It's his birthday, by the way. He is combing through the schedule as apparently the wife is cooking dinner and baby has fallen asleep. So we've put Wes to work even on his off day. And just maybe, Wes will meet the deadline of 14 minutes and 30 seconds before we call it a night here at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex to tell us what is the record amount for goals scored by Lipscomb. We know that they had scored 6 before because they did so in 2019 against North Alabama. But the 7 tonight, potentially something that has not happened before in the program, at least in their Division I history. We'll find out soon, though. How can the visitors find some bright spot in this dark evening? They have rarely ventured into the attacking third. And oftentimes, the impatience of entering that area is what lets them down. You see so again there. And a limited edition attack repelled by Lipscomb. Combative win in the midfield by Schuster. Look at the speed of McGee. She can absolutely fly. And it's still McGee. Locating Wheeler in space. Isolating her defender. Oh, Wheeler nearly picked out the corner. Another fantastic save from Yates, whose gloves are surely showing wear. And Wheeler will head over to take the corner for her efforts.
Lady Bison corner kick.
So we have confirmation. Lipscomb scored 9 goals against Alabama A&M in 2015. So these 7 goals tonight, not a program record. Thank you to Wes Bowling. I knew he'd come through, I promised. Oh gosh, he's gone even farther back. Lipscomb scored 10 against Alabama A&M in 2013. And with that, Wes, you can put the computer down. I don't think we'll get to 10 tonight or test that record with just 11 minutes to go in this one. Should be a much more competitive one on Saturday for Lipscomb when they host Bellarmine, the Knights. From Louisville will be arriving. That will be the last game of the regular season. After that, all the seeds will be set. We already know Lipscomb will be the one. But the rest of the A-Sun, and we'll have a bracket and be able to determine what the Bison's path will need to be to make their 3rd straight NCAA appearance. Wheeler slipping through, onside, save made again. It was Sky Bond who had crept forward. Took an expert pass from Wheeler, who has been excellent as a substitute. And that is yet another impressive save from Yates. This could easily have been 11 or 12-0. Wheeler's corner. Oliver. Reeder. And a foul. Down goes Klingel. Free kick time for Lipscomb. Surely out of shooting range. Really no angle here, though, for a delivery. So just what will it be? Comes the free kick. Ooh. I take it back. That was not out of shooting range. That had some dip and venom in it. Free kick came from Carpazza, and she did not hesitate to go for goal. Wheeler sending Bond down the wing. Needed intervention from Guthrie. Had to get the challenge right and did. Impressive build-up from Lipscomb. And McGee Reeder should go down as another save for Yates. And if that is scored as a save, it's always a bit of a debate. That would be her 13th of the night. Here's Wheeler coasting past one, past two. And then whistled for the foul after bowling over the third defender. Lipscomb out shooting UNA 24-3. Their offensive stat line reading like that of the local hockey team. 24 shots, 19 on target. Be a pretty decent night for the Predators. Really good night for the Bisons. Probably the best spell of possession that UNA has had all night. Real intricate constellation of passes. And a willingness to be patient in their build-up, explore their opportunities. And an ultimate heavy touch from Fell has gifted it back to Lipscomb. Oh, it's fallen through. Flag is up. Wheeler had rounded the goalkeeper, who was rescued only by the raised flag of Lucy Bell. And no complaints from Wheeler. Told that Lipscomb has scored 6 multiple times in ASUN play. This is the first night in their ASUN conference history that they have ever scored 7 goals. The highest scoring ASUN game in school history for Lipscomb, as those routes against Alabama A&M that were the highest scoring games, those were obviously out of conference. Always a good night when you score as many goals in 70 minutes as you have conceded all season. Lipscomb came in just 7 total goals against. They will exit tonight with at least 7 goals scored. Less than 4 to go now from the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. Claimed by Yates, who has been so sure-handed, under fire, and has been focused from the opening whistle. 12 saves, and that doesn't even count many times where she's had to come off of her line to defuse through balls, capture crosses, and so on. All the duties of a goalkeeper, just like she's doing here. She has no reason to hang her head on the bus ride back down to Alabama. Maybe one last salt to the wound as this relentless Lipscomb team continues to pry away. They have cycled out their entire starting lineup except for one holdover in Carapaza. And no matter who has been on the pitch, they have mashed their foot to the gas pedal. And here is the chance for the 8th. They can walk it in from here, but the flag is up. Wheeler's finish negated by the offside. It was the perfect combination. The right pass from McGee, and Wheeler obviously don't have VAR at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex, but it would have been a tight line. In the end, looks like Lipscomb's final goal tally will end at 7.
Checking in for North Alabama, number 10, Chloe Murphy.
And Chloe Murphy back in. Second appearance of the game in her first match of the season. Coming on for here the closing seconds. Well, we just didn't know what we were going to get with this game coming in. Lipscomb was rolling. UNA was desperate. They played a competitive 3-1 match just weeks ago. They shared a tie with a common opponent in Liberty, but there was no mistake about it here at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. The Bisons are in peak form and barreling towards the ASUN tournament. 7 goals tonight, the most ever scored by Lipscomb in ASUN play. It is a message to the entire league that here comes Lipscomb with just one more game left in the ASUN regular season. They are blooming at the perfect time as the spring soccer season comes to its close. And the Bisons on the hunt for their 3rd straight trip to the NCAA tournaments. All cylinders firing here at Lipscomb University. The Bisons take it 7-0 over UNA. They will face Bellarmine on Saturday night, and you can watch that match right where you have watched it tonight on YouTube. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week, and we will talk to you again on Saturday. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us. I'm John Freeman saying so long from the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. Record-breaking night for the Bisons, and they get a standing ovation from their audience. Good night.